Whenever you download like a new piece of software or sign up for a service, you inevitably get hit with that massive, endless wall of text.
Oh, yeah, terms and conditions.
Right. And what do we all do? We just immediately scroll straight to the bottom and click accept.
Nobody reads it.
Exactly. We don't read it. We just want to get to the good stuff. But, I mean, imagine for a second if you could do that with existence itself.
That is wow, yeah, a heavy thought.
Right. Because when it comes to being born, none of us realize that the very software of existence comes with an inevitable crushing bug built right into the code. And that bug is grief.
Yeah, we sign up for the joy, the connection, the experience of being alive, completely oblivious to the staggering emotional toll that is basically contractually obligated to follow.
Well, because the fine print is hidden, right?
Totally. It's hidden by the sheer, overwhelming novelty of existing.
So welcome to A Journey in Song. We explore the experiences Manda writes about in an attempt at self-healing through creating as a South African author, poet, lyricist, and storyteller.
And this is a really special deep dive today.
It is. Our mission today is to decode the motive behind a deeply personal set of lyrics Manda wrote, which is simply titled The Letter. We are looking at what I would call a masterclass in an emotional survival strategy.
Yeah, but to do that, we really have to anchor this analysis in the specific life experience that forced these lyrics into existence.
Right, because this isn't just some theoretical writing exercise.
No, not at all. Manda had experienced a devastating barrage of loss. I mean, she wrote these lyrics as a direct attempt to process and self-heal after experiencing the death of yet another person she cared deeply about.
Just compounding loss.
Exactly. When you're hit with compound grief loss after loss without sufficient recovery time, the cognitive load on the human brain is just staggering.
I can't even imagine.
The nervous system becomes entirely overwhelmed by the threat response. So your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic and narrative, it desperately scrambles to build a framework to, make sense of the senseless.
And the framework she ultimately chooses here is what is so immediately striking to me. I mean, she literally drafts a formal complaint to the universe.
Yeah, it reads like a grievance.
Let me just read the opening lines. She writes, quote, "Dear life, I think I misunderstood the terms when you first came my way. Perhaps I had not read the fine print or had left it behind in another life. But this life gifted to me by you, life, has caused me a great deal of confusion."
It's so powerful. And looking at this through a psychological lens, personifying life as a separate, almost corporate entity is a really classic defense mechanism. It's known as cognitive distancing.
Cognitive distancing. Okay, so how does that work in practice?
Well, when grief is experienced as this pervasive, internal, uncontrollable void, it triggers constant panic. Your amygdala is just firing endlessly.
Because it feels like the threat is inside you.
Right. So by transforming the abstract concept of life into a concrete entity, someone sitting across a metaphorical desk who you can hand a formal grievance to, you create a boundary.
Oh, I see. You externalize it.
Exactly. You externalize the source of the pain. It generates this microscopic sense of agency. You stop being merely a passive vessel enduring trauma, and you become a signatory raising a formal dispute about the terms of a contract.
I mean, I hear you, but I want to push back on that interpretation of agency just a bit.
Okay, lay it on me.
Does drafting this complaint actually give her any control over her situation, or is it doing the exact opposite?
How so?
Well, I read this as highlighting the absolute absurdity of our lack of control. Because right after she addresses this confusion with life, she writes, "I'm not sure if I should go with the flow or upstream as a salmon to die spawning or be eaten before that momentous event."
That is a remarkably brutal biological metaphor.
It is.
Yeah.
And realizing you're bound to a contract where the only two options are, die from exhaustion trying to fulfill your biological imperative, or get eaten by a predator before you even get the chance. That doesn't sound like empowerment to me.
Right, it sounds bleak.
It sounds like an acknowledgement of total surrender. The illusion of choice is entirely stripped away. She's recognizing that she is trapped in a closed system where every possible outcome ends in being consumed by that very system.
You're hitting on a crucial distinction there, though. The empowerment here is not about altering the outcome.
Wait, then what is it about?
It's about cognitive clarity. So, from a neurological standpoint, the human brain is a prediction machine. It constantly burns energy trying to forecast what will happen next to keep you safe.
Okay, track it with you.
Absolute uncertainty, the feeling that anything could happen at any moment, is actually often more traumatic and metabolically draining to the nervous system than a known, guaranteed negative outcome.
Oh, wow. So knowing it's bad is better than not knowing at all.
Exactly. By clearly defining the absolute brutality of these biological terms, the salmon swimming upstream to a guaranteed death Manda is forcing her brain to stop frantically searching for a magical escape hatch.
She's looking at the reality.
Yes. She's intentionally mapping the borders of her reality, however grim they are, because mapping a nightmare actually requires less neurological energy than wandering blindly in the dark.
Mapping a nightmare. Wow, that makes a lot of sense. So once you map out that grim reality, once you accept that the contract is rigged against you from the start, you still have to, wake up the next morning.
You do. The world doesn't stop.
Right. You have to figure out how to actually execute the terms of this flawed contract on a daily basis.
And that's where we move from the psychological realization into the somatic reality of mourning, the actual physical bodily experience of navigating a world that has fundamentally changed.
Yeah, and Manda starts contemplating the very nature of physical existence here in the lyrics. She wonders how she is supposed to, quote, be in this state of grief.
It's a profound existential question.
She considers staying steady as a rock, but then she immediately notes that even rocks change and become sand. They get worn down by time, wind, and what she calls the occasional tectonic disaster.
Which is such a brilliant way to describe a sudden traumatic event.
Yeah, and then she pivots to the opposite extreme, water. She says, don't even mention water that can never remain stable, or even in the same state, frozen cloud or a collection of briny tears or a musical brook.
Think about what the nervous system is attempting to do in the wake of compound loss. It is desperately seeking allostasis.
Allostasis.
Yeah, basically trying to find a stable baseline state to survive the ongoing trauma. And this lyrical section perfectly illustrates the physical and mental paralysis of that search.
Just nothing works.
Right. Every natural state she considers is inherently flawed for survival. I mean, if you harden yourself like a rock, stoically repressing the emotion and bracing against the pain, you eventually just erode from the friction of daily life.
You turn to sand.
Exactly. Or worse, you get shattered entirely by a tectonic disaster, which in her context represents yet another sudden compounding loss.
And the alternative is equally terrifying, right? Because if you go the fluid route, if you become water and let yourself fully experience the flooding reality of the grief, you become completely unstable.
You lose all shape.
Yeah, you freeze into numbness, you evaporate into dissociation, or you just pool into a collection of those briny tears she mentioned. There doesn't seem to be a safe state of matter for a grieving person to occupy.
There isn't. The brain is scanning its environment and internal states, and it's realizing that neither rigidity nor fluidity offers protection from the pain. This leads to massive cognitive dissonance.
And she explicitly highlights that dissonance.
Yeah.
She notes the specific non-negotiable clause in her existence contract that consists of a single imperative word, life.
Just live.
Yeah, but the way she contrasts that biological command with her physical reality is just so visceral.
Yeah.
She asks, but what is that? Is living what I'm doing now? While cleaning and mourning and contemplating and crying and feeling as if I am imploding.
It's heartbreaking.
Think about the sheer absurdity of that daily experience. Imagine being ordered by an architect to build a perfectly stable, beautiful house while you are physically standing in the middle of a continuous, violent earthquake.
That is exactly what compound grief feels like in the body.
So how does the human brain reconcile that biological mandate to stay alive when the physical daily reality of grief feels like an actual structural implosion inside your chest?
Honestly, it creates a terrifying split in consciousness.
Like a literal divide.
Yeah, so the evolutionary survival instinct, which is governed by the brainstem, is firing on all cylinders, demanding that she keep breathing, keep eating, keep doing the laundry.
The cleaning part she mentioned.
Right. But the limbic system, the emotional center, is signaling a catastrophic system failure. The sensation of imploding while doing something as mundane as cleaning the house is a hallmark of profound mourning.
Because the outside doesn't match the inside.
Exactly. The external world demands the performance of normalcy, while the internal architecture is collapsing into a black hole. And the sheer act of writing these lyrics functions as a critical pressure valve.
It lets the pressure out.
Yeah, it takes that invisible internal implosion and gives it an external form.
Well, and struggling to define what living means while you are internally collapsing. That forces a confrontation, doesn't it? You have to look at the very reason living has become so painful in the first place.
You have to look at the cause.
The entity that took the people you love. death.
And the psychological trajectory of the lyrics takes a really fascinating turn here. We shift from this frantic, exhausted questioning of life to a profound, almost eerie evaluation of death.
Yeah, Manda addresses life directly again here. She asks, is this what you meant when you allowed me to meet your partner, death? Is this what you meant when you said there is light and shadow, balance in all?
Partner. Notice that word.
Right. She explains that she is tired of the dark and tired of death's company. But then she delivers this incredibly striking observation. She says, although admittedly he is rather quiet and not a picky consumer of life, he takes all.
The language here is so meticulously chosen. Notice what death is not in this framing.
What do you mean?
Death is not personified as a malicious predator hunting her loved ones. Death is not a monster hiding under the bed. Death is simply life's quiet, unpicky business partner.
It paints death as the ultimate impartial auditor.
Yes. By framing death as an unpicky consumer, she completely strips away the shock value. I mean, in many Western cultures, we're conditioned to view death as this unnatural disruption, right? A tragic failure or an enemy combatant we're supposed to somehow defeat.
Well, absolutely. We fight it at all costs.
But through the lens of repeated compounding loss, Manda normalizes it. She recognizes the inherent cold neutrality of death. It takes all.
It doesn't discriminate.
Right. It doesn't care if you are good, bad, young, or old. It isn't a personal punishment targeting her specifically. It is merely the mechanism of the balance that life promised in the original contract.
Let's just look at the profound irony she's laid out for us here. We spend our entire existence terrified of death. We treat it as the ultimate villain in our story.
The big bad.
Right. Yet in Manda's letter, life is the chaotic, confusing, demanding force that leaves you utterly exhausted. Life hands you confusing terms, tells you to swim upstream only to die, forces you to erode like a rock or freeze like water.
And death.
Meanwhile, death is just quiet.
Yeah.
If we actually start viewing death simply as life's silent partner rather than an active aggressor, does that fundamentally change the way we process the loss of the people we care about? I mean, does it offer relief?
I think it radically shifts the focal point of the grief.
How so?
Well, if death is no longer a villain who maliciously stole your loved one, but just the inevitable conclusion of their contract, the anger and the frantic questioning get redirected.
Because you're not fighting a monster anymore.
Exactly. The problem to solve is no longer, why did they have to die? The problem becomes, how do I endure the chaotic terms of life while I'm still here?
Wow. It puts you back in your own shoes.
It forces the attention back to the present moment. How do we carry the weight of the people who have completed their contracts before us?
And Manda has to figure out how to continue existing in the world of living with that weight, which I think reveals the real-world application of this entire creative act.
The actual writing of the song.
Right. She writes, I know I'm being ridiculous writing this letter to you, dear life, but how I miss living and smiling and laughing. Then she delivers the emotional payload. Thank you for the words you gave me instead. It has helped me build a bridge of song between the living and the dead.
This right here, this is the architecture of emotional survival.
A bridge of song.
Yeah. We have a tendency in pop psychology to talk about art and therapy as tools to, cure us of our pain.
Like you can just fix it.
Right. But profound grief cannot be cured. The nervous system will never simply forget the loss. It can only be integrated. And what Manda is doing is utilizing her specific identity as a lyricist to construct functional architecture, a bridge.
She's building something tangible.
Exactly. She is transmuting the absolute intangible void of her loss into a tangible artifact.
She basically takes the implosion and builds a bridge of song out of the debris.
That's a great way to put it. The people she has lost are on one side of an uncrossable chasm, and she is stranded on the other, surrounded by the wreckage of her grief.
And she can't go to them.
She cannot physically bring them back. But by creating the song, by physically manifesting these words into the world, she builds a connection point.
So the art is the connection.
The creation of the art itself is the mechanism. It allows her brain to maintain an ongoing, active relationship with those she has lost, while still securely anchoring her feet in the land of the living.
It is just a breathtaking way to reclaim meaning from total chaos. But, I am genuinely torn on how to interpret the very last lines of her letter.
The sign-off.
Yeah. She signs off by writing, if at all possible, in my next installment, may I have more smiles instead. Kind regards, just another life.
How do you read the intention behind just another life?
Well, I wonder if, by signing off as a nameless statistic and politely asking for a few more smiles in the next go-around, She is minimizing her own profound pain.
Like she's making herself small.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Is the sheer weight of the compound grief causing her to fold, to diminish her own experience into a polite customer service request?
Oh.
Or is this actually the ultimate sign of psychological acceptance? Is she realizing that this unbearable, incredibly specific grief she is enduring is actually the universal fine print for every single human being who has ever existed?
I mean, looking at the literature, the psychological evidence strongly supports the latter.
Really? Acceptance.
Yes, what we're seeing is a dissolution of the ego in the face of a universal truth.
Explain that.
When a person is deep in the acute phase of grief, the pain feels entirely isolating. The brain convinces you that you are the only entity in the universe who has ever suffered this specific agony.
Because it hurts so much.
Exactly. But by signing the letter, Just Another Life, Manda is zooming the camera all the way out. She is recognizing her microscopic place within the massive, churning ecosystem of existence.
Oh, I see. So it's not self-deprecation.
No, she isn't minimizing the validity of her pain. She is contextualizing it. It is a quiet, profound acknowledgement that she is bound by the exact same brutal, beautiful terms and conditions as the rest of humanity.
We have traveled through a massive psychological landscape today.
We really have.
We started with the overwhelming realization of life's hidden fine print, the inevitability of loss. We examined the physical and emotional paralysis of mourning, decoding what it actually means to feel like you are imploding while just trying to clean the house.
The somatic reality of it?
Yeah, right. We witnessed a reframing of death, not as a monster, but as a silent, unpicky partner. And all of that culminated in this incredible act of survival, building a creative bridge to the ones we've lost so we can continue to stand in the land of the living.
The true value of rigorous analysis on a piece like this is recognizing the gift the artist is giving us.
A blueprint.
Exactly. Independent creatives like Manda Menzies take the immense risk of sharing their deepest vulnerabilities. They map their own psychological implosions and share those coordinates with the public.
Which helps the rest of us.
It provides the rest of us with that blueprint. When we inevitably face our own compounding losses and tectonic disasters, we can look at the bridges they've built and realize we possess the cognitive and emotional tools to build our own.
And that is why it is so crucial to support the artists who are doing this kind of heavy emotional lifting, translating the unspeakable into something we can all understand. If the exploration of this emotional survival strategy resonated with you today, we strongly encourage you to seek out Manda Menzies' music on YouTube. Support her as an independent creative. Like, share, and subscribe to her channel.
Seriously, go find her work.
Engaging with her work is a real, tangible way to honor the bridge she has built and to ensure she has the platform to keep building them.
Because engaging with art born from this level of profound truth is an investment in the emotional infrastructure we will all eventually need to lean on.
Absolutely. So, as we close this deep dive into Manda's letter, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, circling back to that massive wall of text we talked about at the very beginning, the terms and conditions.
Ah, yes, the fine print.
Imagine for a moment that before you were born, you were handed the full, unredacted contract of your specific life.
Yes.
Every single detail laid out.
Every single one.
The exact losses, the specific griefs, the heartbreaks, and the tectonic disasters you would inevitably have to endure.
Right.
If you saw all of that fine print clearly in advance, would you still sign the contract just to experience the moments of joy?
Wow.
Or is our complete blindness to the fine print the only reason we ever dare to love anyone at all?